In this episode, we're going to take a look at a new G.I. Joe classified figure that in a past Fistful of Joes episode, I stated was one of my favorite Cobra figures. So, stick around. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. My name is Rob, and in this episode, we will be taking a look at a new G.I. Joe classified figure that I got in the mail just the other day. This is the Techno-Viper. And hands down, the original Techno-Viper was one of my favorite Cobra figures. I don't know if it was the unique paint job. I mean, he was purple. And it fit. He looked great. He has an awesome helmet that just tops off the whole package. I mean, this dude, when you really think about it, has to be tough as nails. This is the field mechanic for the Cobra forces. So if a hiss breaks down out in the middle of a battlefield, these dudes come in to try to fix it. At least that's the headcanon that I created. So, without further ado, let's see how this figure stacks up to the original.
Yo, Joe!
Okay, folks, let's take a look at the packaging here. And, I mean, it is solid packaging. And as you can see, they went back to the windowed box. And I discussed in the Quick Kick episode my thoughts on that, so I will skip it in this video. Anyway, yeah, I mean, he's laid out great. The picture on the side is top notch. Now, when we turn it on the side here, we see that they still have their silly symbols that mean things, and now they have a QR code, I guess, to fast track you to the file card online or whatever they call it. But why can't they just return to the file card? I mean, is that so hard? Anyway, on the back of the box, we can see that they have still included the awesome toy photography of the figure that used to be on the front of the box when it was windowless. I love it. It is a great picture. You also get some detailing of his backpack and his technical readout on his fancy wristband. Then on the final side, we have a full picture of that awesome artwork that's on the front of the Techno-Viper. And I love it. It is great. I mean, simple and effective. And I just want to point out, this is figure 117, and that just floors me. I mean, that we have gotten this far into the classified series. I mean, soon they'll be hitting the 200s, and they'll be pretty close to what the original toy line had to offer. So, without further ado, let us take a closer look at this figure. Okay. Here's the Techno-Viper in all of its glory. And let's take a look at the accessories before we get a look at the details on the figure itself. I mean, this backpack, and please excuse the blurriness. There we go, I've got it in focus. I mean, what great detailing. Very reminiscent of the original, which we will take a look at later in this review. But what great details. I love the tanks on the back and them being purple as well. We have a sidearm that the original figure didn't come with, so very nice addition. And it's a pretty nice sidearm with a laser sight at the bottom of it. Sorry for the blurriness. We also have a connection hose. We have I don't even know what this is called. I mean, it's a laser gun of some sort. Maybe it's a laser gun for offense defense, or maybe it's a super duper welder for fixing broken down vehicles. We have this tech readout that's pretty neat. And as we can see on here, hopefully I can get it to focus. Doesn't look like it wants to focus. That's ticking me off. Anyway, it has really nice details on it. Tech readouts and such. And we have his mechanics tools. We have a hammer. And we have 2 different types of wrenches. So he's ready to get down to work. Stand not included, which they should all come with stands. I mean, I think it's ridiculous they don't. But we have silver paint application here, like the original. Looks great. We have a little bit more detail in the helmet, which is super nice. And as I take a look at the original figure here on the side, yes. And he has yellow eyes, which the original does not have any eye detail, so points for that. You have all the tubing like the original one had that just looks awesome. I mean, the purple is a little bit more muted in this one compared to the original, but it still looks awesome. And it just, you can feel and see the bagginess of this jumpsuit that he has on, which is nice. Now, the one thing I don't like right off the bat is this gap here at the waist. I don't know what that's about. I mean, it almost looks like the torso wasn't big enough. It's not like he's not sitting in it properly. It's just a different size. So I don't know what that's about. That's the only mark against it that I can think of. So let's jump over and see him all geared up. Okay, here he is all geared up, and there's practically a home for every accessory, which is one of my favorite things. Now, I looked it up in my G.I.Joe action figure encyclopedia, and the 1987 original figure, the weapon is called a phase pulse plasma rifle. So there we go. It's a plasma rifle. So let's take a look real quick. Here we have the handgun in the holster and the backpack. Now we have a home for every tool, and those even have cool names. We have the hydraulic clamp, the forged steel sledgehammer, and the Vario wrench. Don't know what a Vario is, but sounds impressive. Now, the only thing that the original figure came with that I kind of wish this one did was an extra hose to attach to the tools. And the hose didn't seem super long enough for the original pose I had for the gun. But still looks super rad. So now that he's all geared up, let's take a look at him with his original 1987 counterpart. Okay, here we have the new 2024 G.I.Joe Classified Techno-Viper next to his 1987 counterpart. And, you know, I did mention that the colors weren't as bright as the original, but I think I like it. I mean, one thing is I love the 80s purple tone of the original, but the new one just looks sharp. It looks like a Cobra Trooper that you don't want to mess with. Now, we can see differences in the plasma rifle. It has a much fatter head, and of course it's silver, while now it's black. The scope is a lot more sleek on the new one. I mean, the whole thing's sleek. It's very fat in the original figure. Like I said, you have the silver Cobra logo on the chest, and instead of having purple chest guard, they went with black. Now, the detailing on the helmet on the new one compared to the old one, I mean, we still have the silver mohawk and black highlights, but it just looks so slick on him. We still have the silver hoses over the shoulder, on his wrists, and around his side. And we have more detailing on the shoulders. That sidearm is now the real deal, not just molded. The backpacks, I mean, look at that. Almost identical. Of course, with much more detail and paint applications on the new one. What's messed up is the tools are practically the same size. They're silver in the original, black now. And like I said, the original has hose for days. And you can interpret that any way you want, compared to the more well-molded but shorter version of this classified figure. I mean, it just... I am really digging this. Yeah. Was always a fan of Techno-Viper, and this classified figure is making me a bigger one. So, now that we compared them, let's get them ready for battle.
Okay, back to me for the final thought. First things first, it is a gorgeous figure. A wonderful addition to the Cobra ranks. Perfect color, comes with the perfect accessories, but my first mark against this figure comes from those accessories. They are made from that new, real bendy, weak plastic. And for those tools, it just doesn't work. Now the bonus is they fit very nicely into the backpack, but that's about it. When I was posing him with the hammer raised up, it just, you don't have that stiffness to it that adds to the pose, if that makes sense. Because it's like, you move it this way or this way with the hose attached to it, it's going to bend. Because the hose is more rigid than the freaking tool is. So that's really weird. My other knock against this figure comes from the accessories and backpack, that I couldn't find a place to store the plasma rifle while he was holding a tool. I mean, I tried to use different nubs and posts that were sticking out to try to attach it, but like the bulkiness of the Pulse laser rifle just never fit anywhere. So I couldn't find a good place to store it while he was using the tools. And I apologize that I just am using my generic 80s action figure background and I didn't get out any dioramas or anything to pose this figure. One of those reasons is I have, as usual, move some stuff around here in the laundry room, and all my diorama stuff is just in a milk crate right now and not really organized like it usually is. And the only thing I could grab at last minute was a little mini DeLorean. So he's getting ready to whack on probably a uranium power source and blow everyone up. But hey, that's fun. Anyway, other than those few things and the waste gap, which is really weird. So the waste gap, the cheap plastic of the tools, and the nowhere to put the plasma rifle when not in use, those are my only 3 knocks against this figure. Other than that, it's awesome. Looks great. I didn't think it was possible, but it actually looks better than the original. I never thought I would say that with how much I love the original figure. But anyway, we're going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this, or any of the episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Keep being rad, and stay dorky.